Our state has some incredible problems. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. I'm here to talk about that with you and talk about the trends that have shaped this state and dragged us in one direction or another. We're not really we're not realizing the dream we had way back in the early 2000s or even around 2008 or 9 or 10. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. Welcome to WowBiz, Nebraska. We're going to get it on right now. If you are standing there wondering what to do next, if you're confused, if you're treading water in your business, this is the show for you. I'm Lynn Hinderrocker with WowBiz, Nebraska. I'm here with Mr. Bruce Aaron, and the two of us today, is going to be a special show, are going to share wisdom, nuggets of wisdom with them, right? That we've accrued over our numerous years.
Yes,
right? And every single nugget of wisdom, and there's going to be a lot of them, are going to reveal something, some way for you to get off the dime, move forward boldly, confidently, and grab market share the way you're hoping that it goes. And by the way, I'm going to show you a little graphic right now. I showed it to Bruce just before the show began, but this is a fascinating image. I know you may have seen something like this before, but a lot of people that I talk to think, oh, we're doing as well as we can. We can't go any further with this. We're working very hard every day. We must be succeeding. Our profitability isn't really what I thought it would be. We're not increasing our profitability. I have no idea if we have greater market share. My competitors scare the hell out of me. My wife tells me to quit thinking about them. So this is what a graphic looks like that tells you what you really need to do. You're going to get out of the success trap, Bruce. And
success trap.
Success trap. You want to move on to the next level. You're not succeeding the way you're capable of doing it, and this particular graph kind of implies there's another level for you, and we're going to learn it all today right here on WowBiz, Nebraska. So, my friend. Yes. Why don't we're going to trust the fact that there's nothing random in the universe. We'll just go with that for a minute, okay? Right. So whatever you pull out of this beautiful basket here on our news desk, and pull out a little piece of wisdom, go ahead and read it to us as best you can. And let's tell the audience, you've not seen any of this.
I haven't.
This is all brand new to you. So that adds a really exciting quality to our dialogue. All right.
So good. Here we go.
Yes.
Fate is not a net cast over you, but rather a garden you cultivate by the thoughts you attend to.
Wow.
Shift your attention and you will shift your life.
Wow. We start off at the very high end. Huh? We're going profound here.
I have no idea what I just read.
Why don't you read it over again, a little bit louder if you don't mind.
Fate is not a net cast over you, but rather a garden you cultivate by the thoughts you attend to.
Yes.
Shift your attention and you will shift your life.
You know, that whole idea is becoming incredibly powerful and really well accepted. Some of the most brilliant spiritual psychologists will tell you that kind of thing. They'll say, pay attention to what you're thinking of and because our attention is a resource, but it's not, right. So you have to decide kind of what am I going to dwell on? And if you're dwelling on failure or fear,
right,
even anxiety and different scenarios that wouldn't be good,
right,
then somehow, and we won't go into that, I guess, scientifically, those things seem to crop up in your life if they're in your consciousness first. Don't you agree?
Well, I think there's an element of truth to that. If you've got a negative attitude about everything, everything's going to be kind of.
But why? See, that's the interesting thing. There is energy there. I think that we're discussing. We could go deeper into that, but I totally agree with that, and I've made a conscious effort to catch myself when I'm worrying about the future.
Right.
And I don't think I'm the only person around sitting around worrying about the future.
Worry doesn't help anything.
Doesn't seem to help.
No.
All right, should we dive in again?
Yeah.
I thought that was good. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think? Was I accurate?
Oh, I think you were 11.
On the number? 11?
Yeah.
11 is my powerful name, or my powerful number, by the way.
Right?
I'll tell you that later on.
Okay,
here we go. Every time you try to take on something you don't have the talent and full infrastructure to support,
right,
it becomes a distraction. By the way, the gentleman who said that was the president of the late Borders Books and Music. And he had an alliance with Amazon, and he was discussing that in that context. Isn't that interesting?
So say it again if you don't have...
Yeah. Every time you try to take on something you don't have the talent and the full infrastructure to support, it becomes a distraction. That's a very interesting thing. What do you think about that just off the top of your head?
Well,
you don't have to agree, by the way.
Thinking of it in the context of Borders and Amazon, he had talent, obviously, but he didn't have the full infrastructure that he was, if I'm reading that correctly, that Jeff Bezos did or does.
Well, I think, with a couple different ways to interpret it, since they're gone now, who knows, right? But I think he's saying that he would have handled all of the online stuff himself, but he didn't have the infrastructure.
Right.
So he took on Amazon as a partner.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm thinking that that's what he's trying
That would
to
make sense,
get
because-
at, you know.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just have to say, this has been around a while. It's not a particularly new idea, but a lot of companies, I just feel, could subcontract or form partnerships and bring people into their network, shall we say, and engage with them and make money for them and have them make money for you and so on. Don't you think that's
something kind of like Nebraska, maybe?
A little bit, yeah. And I don't necessarily want to plug that. I'm not going into that.
But that is kind of the concept.
That is part of the concept, and I've been trying to implement that to various degrees of success in the past. But I just want to say that because a lot of people get in their world, and this is what we do, and we sell this, and this is how we do it, And we have our limits, and we have to accept that.
But the power of collaboration, I think, can really open up a whole lot.
I really think so, and I think, okay,
your
turn.
My
Yes,
turn.
yes. All right, now blow me away now. Be thinking consciously what you're pulling up here. Okay. Maybe we'll disagree, by the way. I don't know. We'll see.
All that we are is a result of what we have thought. All that we are is a result of what we have.
You're on the same groove. The very same thing that you had a second ago.
Yeah, unintentionally.
Yes. So what do you think?
I don't know. This isn't really in my wheelhouse. This type of thing. But yeah, tell me what you think.
Well, this is my wheelhouse.
I know it is.
Yeah.
I know it is.
I think there's another quote someplace where Pablo Picasso says, he says, everything you can imagine is real. He said that in all seriousness, right? So he, and then this particular phrase here, and read it again out loud.
All that we are is a result of what we have thought.
Yes. So this is a metaphysical principle, obviously.
Yeah, right.
So you have an idea, consciousness, which has tremendous power and energy, and then it manifests itself here around us in form, and here we are, right? So obviously you are a very talented guy. You could have done many things besides having errant creative. You were in corporate land at one time and have done a variety of things. You're a writer as well.
I used to be a brain surgeon.
Right.
There's that.
There is that, and you don't want to ignore these options. No. All right. You know where I'm going here. Okay. I think we all have the ability to impact our lives.
Okay. Hit me.
By what I think.
Hit me with this.
Today, there's a revolution going on.
Yeah.
But it's about values, not about value.
Oh, okay.
Add the S to the word value, and you got values.
Changes everything.
It says, this is why the younger generation of workers is confused and aimless. They see no value in pushing themselves toward excellence because the return on doing their best seems mundane, listless, barely worth it, and going the extra mile seems naive.
And we've talked about this kind of thing before, and I think there's a lot of truth to it, that a lot of workers, young or old, but especially in the younger demographic, are looking for a company that has values.
Yes.
Something to work for and feel good about.
Yeah. Now, don't you think that the interest in higher purpose, quote unquote, higher purpose, is part of this?
Oh, yeah.
And but there are a lot of business owners out there, maybe almost everybody, that are scratching their heads saying, I can barely get my product manufactured and shipped.
Right.
How am I going to get to uncovering higher purpose and meaning and solving these young people's neuroses or sense of, I don't know the word, lack of meaning.
Or the need for their fulfillment or something.
Yes.
And I don't think that every company can necessarily fill every bit of every checkbox.
Yeah.
There. But I think there is something to be said for companies that have have something of a noble
cause. Yeah, especially if they're actually doing something about that noble cause. You know, I just have to say before we leave here, and I want our viewers to think about this as well. A lot of these people that we're alluding to and trying to analyze right here have a little bit of depression and a little bit of self-esteem issues. They feel like they're not really doing what they wanted to do, and they're not really all that, right? And one of the more, this is not a high-minded idea, but acquiring skills can make an enormous difference in how you feel about yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. But a lot of business organizations don't necessarily invest in increasing, and by the way, this guy needs this skill, he needs this skill.
Right.
So it takes a little effort and money, but I got to tell you, if you can improve the skills, that'll get you 70% there in terms of keeping these people up, feeling good about themselves. I learned how to do this. I never thought I could do it before.
Giving them a sense of maybe loyalty to the company.
Loyalty to the company. They helped me learn how to do this.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's really
my turn.
I think so. That was a good dialogue.
That was. What's important now are the characteristics of the brain's right hemisphere: artistry, empathy, inventiveness, big picture thinking. These things have become first among equals in a whole range of business fields.
Wow. Bruce, that's pitching a fastball right to you, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't disagree with any of that. I mean, I think that there's a lot of importance in really the right brain side of business. That's a biased opinion.
Well, Dan Pink, no less, is the guy that said that, and has talked about that in some of his books. And so let's just dive into this for a second, because I think it's more profound than you realize. You're a creative man, and so am I. But most businesses, especially large ones, don't give that kind of thing a lot of thought.
No.
In my opinion.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of underplayed.
Yeah, it is. But the thing that they're missing, and I think some of them are probably know this, is that when the right brain is working and clicking in, it's seeing associations, it's seeing linkage between various things.
Right.
Commonalities that other people would say, so what? I don't care that. I don't get that. And the commonalities and the ability to think in an abstract fashion are very strategic potentially.
Right.
Can lead us into a new market segment, can help us understand what people really, the customer, what he or she really cares about, stuff like that.
That kind of harkens to my big beef about art being eliminated in grade schools.
Yes.
In the classroom,
yes.
They don't have the budget for art.
Yes.
It's like, it's not about learning how to draw a flower. It's about learning how to think in a creative way. And
right.
you're going to take that with you.
They want to judge the output.
Right. No. It's about the thought process.
It's about the thought process.
Yeah.
Now, I have a long discussion to have about this particular topic, and we're going to do it maybe at the end of the show.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Is it my turn to
It's your turn.
go in here? I'm going to rustle things around. The paper is all different. I got a short one here. Here we go. Well, here we go again. Attitudes are more important than facts. That's Carl Menninger. Now, why would that be true? Attitudes are more important than facts. A lot of people out there would say, facts are it, data, big time.
I think you do have to put it in context of what you're talking about. I mean, if you're a murder detective, I think you need to have the facts.
Yeah.
But I think, generally speaking, there's a lot to be said for having the attitude to go forward instead of just the facts. And if you're going to have a sense of a healthy sense of risk.
Yeah.
And innovation, I think you have to have the attitude to do so. If you look at the facts, a lot of times that can squelch everything.
Yeah, because it becomes problematic.
Right.
But there's maybe a reverse side to it, which is attitudinal.
Right.
Yeah, maybe things are really bad, so if we do something really cool over here, it'll look really dramatically better.
Right.
There's an attitude right there,
yeah.
Being opportunistic. So I agree with you. I think attitudes are the way to turn around poor data.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Another one?
Yeah. And we'll go to the promo here in 1 minute.
A hero is simply someone who rises above his own human weaknesses for an hour, a day, a year to do something stirring.
Wow. I love that.
Well,
I agree with that.
I think that's true. I think you can be a hero doesn't have to be a guy like, in a cape or, or a superhero kind of thing.
No, it doesn't have to stand out.
There's somebody who can step up, rises above his own human weaknesses. So you step up and you take action, and it doesn't have to be a life-saving action, but it can be some change.
I think we all can actually be stronger and more ideal than we think we can.
Yeah.
And that's heroic. That's a heroic quest.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Similar idea.
Yep.
All right, Bruce Arendt, we're here on WowBiz Nebraska. I want to thank you so much for being here. We've got a promotional sponsor or a supporter of this particular show, and that name of that company is Urban Natural America. Yes. Now this is particularly pertinent if you're a municipal planner, a mayor, a chamber, an economic developer, somebody who's trying to figure out how do we attract talent, because as you might have read recently in the Omaha World Herald on the front page, Nebraska is continuing to lose people. The pandemic, we lost some population, it didn't rebound, didn't come back.
No.
Right. So we've got a difficult challenge. We're at 1,900,000 people, give or take. We thought we would do better than this, but we're kind of flat to down. And I just want to emphasize to all of those kinds of people I just mentioned before, there is a way, there is a system, and part of it has to do with the design of a community, the design of the buildings, both on the exterior and the interior. We call it urban natural. That means opposites. So you have a facade and a beautiful building, 2, 3, 4 stories. Maybe it's downtown, all right? Or maybe you've identified some neighborhood or area that you're trying to spiff up in your community. Think about urban natural design that features wood and metal, wood and glass, wood and steel, organic and synthetic together, because Nobel Prize winning research tells us it stimulates good mood, stimulates the release of dopamine in the human brain, and literally good vibes. Yeah. It's an incredible thing to talk about, but it's a scientific fact now, not a marketing hyperbole or whatever. So, but that's just the beginning of my promotional message. The second piece is there are 50 million very bright young knowledge workers in America today. That's 38% of our entire population, by the way. And they are looking for a place to go to live and to work. And by the way, Nebraska could be the landing pad. It could be a place that would attract those people if you, we call them urban natural people. And then of course we have urban natural design. This is a place where health and wellness are common, because that's what these people are attracted to. Sustainability. Think about these attributes as you sit down and do your community planning, strategizing for the future going forward here in 2023. Get your community to be known as an urban natural place, an urban natural destination, and you'll attract highly skilled urban natural people, which in turn, obviously, will attract employers and people looking for that kind of knowledge, highly skilled young worker. I know that's a lot to say. I apologize for going on and on about the Urban Natural America concept, but it is really the way to attract talent and revitalize your community. Go Urban Natural, go to urbanaturalamerika.com. All right. Wow. It's so profound I can hardly absorb it. The things that could be happening, all right? Yep. So here we are with Bruce Arendt, with Arendt Creative here in Omaha. I'm Lynn Hinderocker. We are so pleased to have you here, and we're sharing tidbits based upon our personal exposure and experience, which is quite broad at this time, and sharing some key ideas. Some of it's psychological and philosophical, some of it's strategic. Right. So, Bruce, why don't you stick your hand in this?
Continue on the game?
Yeah, let's continue with the game right here in the basket, and we'll find out what other wisdom you can share with us.
Lynn?
Yes.
The most effective way to cope with change is to help create it.
Yeah, boy, isn't that the truth? But you know, so many people, I have to say, it kind of has to do with the promotional blurb that I just finished up. So many people really are frightened to death of change. Yeah. And when things aren't going well, in converse to what they should be doing, they want to put the stop the change even more. Yeah. Until things go better and we can kind of relax, and then maybe we'll go ahead and do something, etc. So this is an issue that we have in Nebraska. I see people in Omaha really fighting that trend, right. And I see that also in Lincoln to some extent. But throughout the entire state, we're struggling with, can we go back? And if we can't go back, what do we do? Just give up? do we actually have the resources and the time to really redesign the entire community? I'm talking Fairbury and Crete and communities like that, you know?
Right.
They want to do the right thing, but in my opinion, they don't have a vision and they don't believe, they have no confidence that they can actually do it. So they'd rather just not discuss it and let their children and their grandchildren figure it out in 30 years down the road.
But if you can help create the change, that makes sense.
It does.
That does help you to cope with the change.
You know, one of the people that I respect so much, a consultant out on the West Coast, he said, you know, they bring in outside change agents or people that are consultants in change management, and they frighten people, keep telling them, okay, we're going to change, you know, da-da-da-da-da, get ready, we're going to change, it's going to be great, you know. And people become very apprehensive. And this guy's point is very well taken. He said, we change every day. Change never stops and starts. Life is constantly changing. And so therefore, it's just, you know, we want to say we adapt to the change or, you know, make an incremental adaptation. But he said, you know, don't frighten people around you by emphasizing the depth and the breadth of change. I thought that was...
Well, I think that's true. And I think the fear of the unknown is what really frightens people, because they see it as, you know, but it doesn't have to be, if you take small bites or small baby steps, change can be gradual enough that it's, you know, it's
And they all know that we have weaknesses. You know, we want to hide our weaknesses, you know. We're not good at this, you know. I want the boss to know that I'm no good at that.
Right.
And maybe this change is going to force me to reveal, you know, something that I'm no good at.
And that would be scary.
That would be scary. So fear, something else. Okay, is it my deal?
It's your deal.
Okay, I'm going to go deep here. I'm going to go way deep and see what we got here. Now this is interesting because it's a quote from a lady who's passed away. A very bright lady in New York called Edith. Her name was Edith Weiner, and she owned a big PR agency several years ago called Edric Brown in New York. And here's what she said, though, and I was just hit by it. You know, it explains so much. She said, most executives have an educational incapacity. She said they know about their particular function, but they don't see the world in a broader perspective. That's not wrong, she said, that's human. What do you think about that?
That's a very interesting, yes. I think that's an easy thing to become very narrow because you're so knowledgeable in a certain area, but you don't.
And you want to go where you're comfortable, which is technical knowledge and depth and things you do everyday.
So you don't see everything a little bit broader. No, I think that's a great quote.
It's a great thing. And those of you that are in marketing and sales and so on, pay special attention, because if you're sensitive to how the world is changing and you can link your product or service to this trend. For instance, women have really come up through the ranks into managerial ranks over the last 20 years. It's a big deal.
Sure.
But then because of pandemic, most of women stayed home, took care of the children, and watched over the remote learning thing. So now they're really very frustrated. Their careers, new respect for who I am has been truncated because they're staying home with the children. So there's guilt there with a husband and so on. You know, it's very interesting.
Frustration or resentment.
That would become, yes, and there are certain services or products that could be sold to people that are dealing with those emotions.
Wow.
Go right here.
Interesting. One more here.
Yeah.
Or I don't know how many more, but
we're wrapping up here.
The present moment finds our state attempting to negotiate the most difficult, but at the same time, the most exciting transition Nebraska's leaders have faced to date. It's not merely a transition to a new level of existence, but the start of a new movement in the symphony of human history.
Wow.
I don't know.
And Claire Graves said that.
Yes.
Well, what do you think? I mean,
I've got to absorb.
How can you not end or begin the show on that quote? Why don't you say it again with certain?
The present moment finds our state being Nebraska, attempting to negotiate the most difficult, but at the same time the most exciting transition in Nebraska's leaders have faced to date. It is not merely a transition to a new level of existence, but the start of a new movement in the symphony of human history.
You know, if 45,000 business owners were packed into this room, boy, they'd be squeezed tight. Yeah. But what do you think their response would be to that quote, talking about a movement and the importance of creating a movement at this critical juncture. And a lot of people do say that we got to come out of the pandemic. There's a mentality, a new thought about that. What do you think about that?
This is the time to, if you're going to do something,
make a move.
Start a movement.
Yeah.
As opposed to just trying to, scratch your way out of the hole.
And we took a look a second ago at the beginning of the show, this notion of plateau and then success and so on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what we're talking about here.
That fits right into that.
It fits right into it. It's very interesting. But the question is, and of course many of our viewers out there, they're going, well, what exactly are we talking about? I like the idea of a movement. I like the idea of getting off the dime instead of trying to go back to 2018 or whatever.
Right.
But specifically, what can we do? And that's something that has to be handled face to face.
Oh, that's a one-on-one deal.
But that's an exciting question to be asked.
Right.
And it's so nice to be sitting here with you discussing a movement. All right. Well, here we are in WowBiz, Nebraska with Bruce Arendt. We've talked about a lot of stuff. Heavy stuff. We uncovered psychological and philosophical axioms or encouragements, I think.
Right.
And so there will be people that are watching the show that'll go, well, I don't know, those were some pretty forward-thinking, heavy ideas, and I'm sure there's going to be a tsunami of emails coming in here wondering what in the world.
A veritable tsunami. I think that's what you want to say.
Exactly right. But I got to tell you, it all comes down to, and I'm going to pull this graphic out one more time as we wrap up the show, because a lot of business owners out there, I'm going to hold this up one more time, think that they are at a certain level where they're supposed to be. They think they're doing okay. They're comfortable being there. They don't see any obvious problems or whatever. And of course, innovation, which is kind of the second theme of this show, is the catalyst to start to move you up this hump so you can move to a new level. In the past I've talked about vision and fusion and passion as catalysts for moving up to this next level. And so we just want to tell you out there, remember, there is a new level for you. There is a higher level for you. And you might want to think about innovation and some of these stirring aphorisms and truisms to help you get motivated and move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lynn Hinderrocker in WowBiz, Nebraska. We've had another great show. Thanks to Bruce Arendt, by the way, and your considerable contribution. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.